Am I recording? I am recording. Wow, I'm so fucking professional, dude. Holy shit. I can't even deal with my professionalism right now. I don't know how to fucking start these videos, man. Hi, welcome, friends. How are you? This is a good intro. Okay. So basically, the MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries trailer came out a few months ago in the end of December there with MechCon. And everybody in the world has been asking me what my opinion is about it, because obviously my opinion is the only one that matters, and I am an expert on MechWarrior and all MechWarrior things related.
My opinion not matter anymore?
No, your opinion doesn't. Spoiler alert, that was a joke. Okay, anyway, fucking, so, but yeah. When I saw the footage and I saw the MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries trailer, I've been wanting to do this sort of video to kind of do a bit of like a breakdown, analysis trailer, to sort of go over everything that we see in the trailer, good points, bad points, things we want to see, things we don't want to see. Just kind of analyze the trailer, you know, I don't know where I'm going with that. You know what I'm fucking talking about.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Can I cut?
No,
okay.
no, you're not allowed to cut in yet. I'm not done with my intro. Fuck off. Hang on. So, I was originally gonna do this like whole planned out video that was gonna be like really structured and really go deep into analyzing and go crazy on the editing. And then RedSail came along and was like, fuck that shit. We're doing this shit podcast style, bitch. And here we are. Joining me today is RedSail.
What's up?
Hello. So yeah, I scrapped all of that work I had done, which was absolutely zero. So, yeah, we're
Put so much work into doing nothing.
Yeah, pretty much. I was gonna write a script and everything, and then I just never did. So this is what we're doing. We're just kind of go through it, I guess, podcast style or live, not actually live. We have our videos synced up, and basically the way we're gonna do this is we're just gonna go through the video and pause at certain points where we feel there's something to discuss or kind of expand upon things or kind of point out. Maybe what we see, what we like, what we don't like, etc. RedSail is, of course, the leader of Labier Warriors, our holy drunken leader. So,
hell yeah.
So yeah, I guess that's the intro. You ready? You good?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, if we want to do an intro, we can just do something like, because like they're gonna look at the video title and like know that it's a review video. Like all we have to say, like, hey, we're reviewing the video. I don't know. Don't worry about it. You do your thing.
Okay.
You don't have to talk for 5 minutes about what it's gonna be. That's what I was gonna say.
I gotta be specific. They don't know. You can't explain all my words in a title for a YouTube video. All right. Also, I want to just give a little of a background history on RedSail's and I's experience with MechWarrior and just the MechWarrior franchise in general. I grew up with, you know, starting off with MechWarrior 2 when I was about 5 years old. Maybe 4, because it came out in 1995. I was 4, and my father, of course, bought the game right away. He was a big BattleTech person, which is how I got into it. And so, you know, I was really excited. Like, I did get a little bit of like a nostalgia boner just from seeing MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries in the title, which I'm sure something as PGI might be banking on our nostalgia for, you know. But, you know, I did grow up with MechWarrior 2, the expansions, MechWarrior 3, the expansions for that, MechWarrior 4, and the expansions for that. Countless, you know, weeks upon months upon years of my life gone into just MechWarrior and the BattleTech universe. RedSail, I know you have a similar sort of story.
Yeah, so like my grandfather played MechWarrior 2, and I would go over to my, it's kind of funny too, like you wouldn't picture my grandfather as a gamer, but I would go over to his house all the time, and he would have MechWarrior 2 on his computer, and I would play that all the time. And then one year my dad bought me MechWarrior 3, I got super into that, and then all the way through high school started playing MechWarrior 4, got involved with playing in different clans, like online clans.
Yeah.
And then that's whenever
MechWarrior 4 is where online kind of took off. The multiplayer for MechWarrior 4 back in the day was huge.
And then like MechTech kind of released it. And
MechTech exploded, yeah, with the Mercenaries expansions. And I think the Mercenaries games in particular, like MechWarrior 2 Mercenaries and MechWarrior 4 Mercenaries, are the games that people remember most. Those were like sort of the quintessential MechWarrior experience, you know, for a first-person mech shooter.
Maybe I played that one in MechWarrior 3. MechWarrior 3 is different.
Yeah, I still like MechWarrior 3 is still my favorite personally, but the Mercenaries games were definitely huge for a lot of people.
And then I think you and I both, or no, I did. I played MechWarrior Online all the way since like beta.
Right, and actually, I've got into Living Legends before, you know, MechWarrior Online was even a thing.
Yeah, but unfortunately, I never got into the tabletop though. So.
Yeah, I haven't. Yeah, I never got into it. I remember my father had played it quite a bit. But you know, sort of getting into tabletop, the new BattleTech game coming out is definitely something I'm going to be getting into as well.
I was just eating a cupcake.
Oh. I was like, all you gotta say is to that. Oh, BattleTech game. Oh, okay. Eating a fucking cupcake. What the fuck?
It was a BattleTech cupcake. It's an AC-20 cupcake. Sorry. Okay. Continue.
Anyway, well, that's it. We'll move on now. Okay. So I'll start off with we're at the beginning of the video here, and when I first saw the trailer for this, kind of like before they had really told us what it was going to be, I think a lot of us were kind of expecting a little bit of. I mean, were you expecting them to drop MechWarrior 5 on us, or
no? I thought that ship had sailed.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Was gonna happen.
It was a pretty good bomb that they dropped. And I just remember thinking, like, I saw this logo pop up first, right? The Unreal Engine 4, and my first thought was, yes, oh my God, yes, thank you for getting rid of the fucking CryEngine and going with an actual, like, competent fucking engine. I love Unreal Engine 4.
I don't think anybody saw that coming.
No, I am so happy they moved to Unreal Engine 4. I am so fucking happy, right? You know, and then of course I saw this logo pop up, and then I had the exact opposite reaction. I was like, no, God, why? No. I was like, oh yeah. I mean, all right, we do have to sort of touch on that. We're not actually, like, I made a joke about it in the beginning. We're not actually gonna, like, shit on PGI or anything, but my overall sort of feelings on MechWarrior 5 is cautiously optimistic, and I had made a comment on the video which a lot of people agreed with, and a lot of people seem to sort of have the same feeling, where everybody is cautiously optimistic, you know, because we don't need to go into it. We know PGI's past and history and everything, and the bullshit they've done, and, you know, we don't want a repeat of that. Clearly, the game that was sort of showcased to us for MechWarrior Online back in 2011, 2012, obviously is not the game that we have today. They've lied about things. And you know, so that's something we don't, that's why we're cautiously optimistic. And a lot of people said that this is sort of a chance for Piranha Games to redeem themselves, and which I hope they do. To be honest, I hope they fucking blow my goddamn mind. Okay, I hope that this is the best fucking MechWarrior game we've ever had. It is the greatest sequel to MechWarrior 5, or MechWarrior 2 Mercenaries rather. MechWarrior 4 Mercenaries.
I don't know if I'm that optimistic.
No, I'm saying I'm not that optimistic. I'm hoping that like, I don't think that's going to happen, but I am hoping that they exceed my expectations, which are currently just not a lot due to the history of the company.
Well, but I looked through a couple of the interviews with Russ about this, and I think he's made it clear that he understands he's not reinventing the wheel.
Which is
good.
I
think they're probably going to reuse a couple assets, or reuse a couple aspects of MechWarrior 4 and MechWarrior 2, probably. A little bit of the Mercenaries games, maybe. And I mean, they've probably learned a lot from the years of making MechWarrior Online.
I hope they have.
You can tell, like, from the video that they have learned a couple things, and they have paid attention to our complaints. There are a couple like minor details that you'll see in the trailer or in the footage. That
which like, we'll definitely go over.
Hey, they listened.
Yeah. And the other thing is, we all know how amazing PGI is at balance. Something they will not have to worry about with this, because this is going to be, as they said, and as far as I can tell, is still what the plan is. This is going to be single player only. So, you know, they can make all the fucking overpowered clan tech over, which it's not even going to be, because this is actually going to be before the year 3050. But the point is, we don't, you know, they don't really have to worry too much about the balance. There's going to be actual, like, salvage mechanics as far as we know and everything. You know, you're going to get better gear, better tech, right?
Yeah, well, it just, again, going back to interviews with him, it seemed like he was talking a little bit more of wartime economies, possibly the ability to purchase different mercenaries, like get different technology as the years progress in the game.
Right,
but, I don't know. Why don't we just hop into it? And
which could be cool. Which is it's funny to say that now, because they just announced the Civil War update for MechWarrior Online, and a whole bunch of new weapons that are probably going to go through a ton of balancing changes when it first comes out. I can't fucking wait for that, but I don't know how they're going to do that. Anyway, So yeah, we'll go. Oh shit! I lost the fucking tab. God damn it! Oh no! Oh fuck! I just crashed my Chrome. No fucking Christ! I just closed my entire... I need to kill my internet so that I can launch Chrome because I have so many tabs open and they'll all load at once and destroy my bandwidth if I don't disable my internet. I'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that. We're back. I'm an idiot.
Engine.
Yeah. Also, I wanted to point out, I mean, it might not be relevant at all, but I thought it was interesting how the Civil War update includes 3 mechs that we already have in Living Legends, which are some of the most popular mechs, the Uziel, the Cougar, and the Mad Cat Mark II, of course. And also all the weapons as well, all the weapons that they're adding are weapons that have already been in MechWarrior Living Legend. I'm just wondering if PGI kind of caught wind of like Living Legends' little mini return and was like, oh shit, we should do these things that people seem to really like, you know, because those are like some of the most popular mechs that, you know, of Living Legends. Everybody loves the other weapons like Heavy Gauss and all that stuff, and Rack, the RAC rotary auto cannons and all that jazz. So
I feel like those are their only options left to pick. They've already like grabbed like every other mech. I think they have more mechs in the game than like almost any other MechWarrior title at this point.
Yeah, that's true. But I just found that really kind of like coincidental. Like, oh, the Uziel, the Cougar, and the Mad Cat Mark II, 3 of the most popular mechs in Living Legends.
Yeah, but do we know what mechs are going to be in MechWarrior 5?
No, I mean just not from what we've seen. I'm glad they're kind of like, I like the Annihilator too. I think the Annihilator has only shown up in MechWarrior 3 as far as I know.
I wonder if that's what they're going to pull from though.
And MechWarrior 4.
Those mechs, or if they're going to make new ones, or
right.
I assume they're just pulling from their content they've already created.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of funny. I just kind of wanted to point that out. But is there anything else we need to talk about before we go into this, or?
I think really the best. I think the best part of the intro. I think the best part of the intro is honestly the Unreal Engine 4.
Yeah. I'm very if you want to talk about that is something to talk about. I'm very glad they're using Unreal Engine 4. That opens up a lot of modding possibilities as well. I mentioned that the game is going to be single player only. However, you know, due to the open source nature that Unreal Engine 4 is, I'm sure somebody will make a multiplayer mod. If not, you know, just a few months after release. It's so easy to mod for this engine, so it's possible we could see a lot of mods for this game.
Yeah, but I think the main thing though is Unreal Engine 4 just honestly just operates a lot better.
It does,
graphics,
yes.
Cards wise, whereas CryEngine 4, is CryEngine 4?
I don't know
which one is it?
I don't know if they're on 3 or 4 now.
CryEngine just like focuses so much on hogging up your entire CPU, and which is why they had to downscale the graphics so much for MechWarrior Online.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is they're also using such an old version of the CryEngine anyway, to begin with. It's just bad news bears all around, pretty much.
Yeah, so as soon as everyone saw the Unreal Engine, I think everyone...
Yeah, everyone was like, oh, they listened to us. That was one of the things we actually asked them about, or like, please, switch to a different fucking engine. But yeah, so I think that's about it. We'll just get into it, all right?
Let's do it.
Okay, so here we go.
MechCon.
MechCon.
I never got to go, but Beer Warriors were there.
Comic-Con. We were there.
Oh, look at that garage.
Wow! Shiny metal graphics.
God, those are some huge shells.
I bet you know all about huge shells. Huge phallic object looking things, right? Okay, so let's actually pause here. What mech is this? Because I'm an idiot.
It is the...
Actually, I'll let the lights come on. But yeah, why did the name slip my fucking mind? I know this mech. God damn it.
God damn it.
We know we are professionals. We know everything there is to know about BattleTech and MechWarrior. Oh, fuck me. Shadowhawk.
I'm like, I feel dumb. I was gonna say Shadow.
We're smart. I know my BattleTech things. Maybe.
Yeah, that's the Shadowhawk. Okay. Cut all that out.
yeah, we're smart. We know what we're talking about. Okay, anyway, this is the Shadowhawk. Immediately, we have a pretty good sense of scale.
Oh, yeah. Which is a pretty old mech, actually. It was produced in 2550. I mean, this game isn't even set to start until 3015. So this mech is a really old mech. Yeah. So this is the Shadowhawk.
Right.
Isn't it beautiful?
It is beautiful. I was saying that it has a sense of scale. Like we definitely get a good sense of scale. You know, the Unreal Engine 4 is pretty good at doing that if you do it right. Which so far things look good. I like things are looking pretty good here. The graphics, they look pretty damn decent. Yeah, lighting and everything.
Like one of the things that you're gonna see here is they really kind of bring the mech to life. That's kind of one of the things that you know, not to talk about Titanfall too much, but like Titanfall kind of did that. They kind of make the Titans actually feel like they're almost alive, a part of the pilot.
Yeah, they should have a personality. You know, each mech is unique in its own.
But like it's more like they have, each mech has different quirks. And just like in all the lore, like this mech, you know, the left actuator never works for whatever reason.
Don't mention quirks, man. I'm gonna get flashbacks to MechWarrior Online.
But every mech has different aspects about it, especially since this one is so old, and they would oftentimes reuse old mechs because
which is very true to the lore, especially in
exactly
the years that these are set in, with Mercenaries especially.
The Shadowhawk was made like way before this game even takes place in 2550. So this is a really old mech, and they do a great job of like showing how old and busted up it is. Whenever
I mean, we can see there's like we can see the paint is all really stripped off, and once it powers up, which we can show up here.
But you're gonna see the left arm actuator is gonna break. It's gonna take forever to boot up, and then whenever it breaks, he's gonna be like, "It works like brand new."
It's brand new. Yeah. I want to continue here because there is something else we have to touch on in about 1 second.
Hey, hotshot. Hey, up here.
Okay, this is one of the points I have to I don't like, which is the sort of overly macho sort of voice we have from this character up here. Hey, hotshot, up here. It doesn't sound like, if you're gonna go for that sort of stereotypical like macho mercenary sort of voice, it's got to be done really well, or it's just gonna sound cliche. And I'm sorry to say, here it just sounds too cliche to me. I really hope they I don't know. I'm sure. Again, did I put up a disclaimer in the beginning? I didn't put up a disclaimer. Here's a disclaimer now. Boom. Pre-alpha footage. Everything here can fucking change. We know. All right. Anyway. But so basically, yeah. I mean, I'm hoping this changes. This is something that can definitely change in the future.
Well, I mean, I was gonna say though that the scripting in here is, you know, not very. Yeah, it's kind of cliche.
Yeah. That's what
I was kind of curious of. What I was curious of is like he says, "Hey, look up here," and there's no visible UI yet. So I mean, I wouldn't even know where to look, honestly. You just say, look up here, I would look at the ceiling. Like, there's just so much to look at in this garage or this mech bay. Like, I would have been.
I'll give them that. Like, there is a good lot of detail.
A good lot of detail.
I just mimic my
like
words.
the UI. I just wonder if like he would wait for you to look at him before he continues, or if he's just going to continue talking whether or not you look at him or not.
Yeah, cause we saw Russ play this live. He is actually moving and looking around in this. Yeah. I'm sure that this particular, everything we're seeing here was just made as sort of a tech demo, sort of, you know, just to show what the game's going to look like or be about. So this might not even be in the game. All of this might not even be.
Probably all completely FPO. Like, it's all just one giant demo just to show the mechanics of the game.
Yeah, that's what I'm guessing.
I mean, they probably didn't even actually hire like a professional voice actor. For all of this. I
thought it was funny to point out, like, hey, hotshot. Like, he was really trying. You could tell, but it just wasn't.
They probably just. I mean, obviously they did get voice actors, but it's probably not like they're.
Right. This isn't finalized.
They probably didn't put a lot of work into it.
We'll continue on from here.
It's about time you showed up.
It's about time you showed up, rookie.
I'm just about finished the maintenance check. Hang on a second. I'll get her warmed up.
He said just about and like twice. This is cool. I like the animations are looking very nice. Looking a very nice. You see the heat vents. Heat vents coming out. Like, there's already a lot of cool little detail in here. Really make it feel like this is a giant fucking robot that could step on your face and squish you.
It's slow and mechanical and
and it's supposed to be
a lot of power to lift that thing up.
It's supposed to be exactly like that. I really
right
like
arm,
that.
Left arm, and
well, fuck.
Love it.
Not bad for 500 years old.
So he's like not bad for 500 years old.
I mean, yeah. So is that actually true? 500 years. So if when?
Wait, okay. So if it's 500 years, old.
I'm sure he's not talking about exactly. That's probably a generalization, just even from the character in the game. But
that also probably doesn't make sense either. It's like not even close to 500 years, because the production year, at least according to Starna, is 2550. So maybe this is a different Shadow Mech or something, but that would make this year 3050.
Right. So it would be like nearly 500 years old, not quite there yet.
Yeah. So like that's like towards the in an interview, like Russ talked about how he wants this to take place between 3015 and 3049. So this is probably like right towards the end of
I would say probably.
You know?
Well, he mention also that the game might be going through years as you play along, right? You'll kind of go to different years.
That's what I'm saying, though. It's
timeline.
like this seems like this, at least according to, if we're taking what he's saying as canon, then this part of the trailer takes place towards the end of that timeline, near 3050.
And I do hope PGI does stick to sort of like the lore and the canon of the BattleTech universe. There are things we should not be seeing in pre 3050 pre-clan invasion years, and there are things that we should see. And I hope that they stick true to the lore, because being a BattleTech and a MechWarrior fan, I would really like to see a game that could be considered canon. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the other thing also is this is pre-alpha, so they might have just like thrown a couple mechs in there just so you know how the game operates.
Yeah.
So they may not have even paid any attention to canon when making this. They may have just put in like placeholder mechs.
Yeah, yeah. Wouldn't it be funny if I wasn't recording this whole time?
No, it would not be funny.
It's okay, we're good. I just wanted to see what your reaction would be.
Nothing funny.
Nothing about that is funny. Fuck you. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on.
Don't make him like this anymore. He's ready for you. Come on up.
Here, can we pause real quick?
Sure, sure.
So I know we're like pausing like every 5 seconds, but he's like,
look at him,
they don't
sexy
make him like
feet.
this. Yeah, but he's like, they don't make him like this anymore, and I just love that aspect of like kind of like we talk the same way about cars. If they add scripting in there like that sort of brings this mechanical piece to life.
Yeah, dialogue like that is good, because a lot of movies movies with like big universes behind them, like Star Wars and Lord of the Rings, will also have dialogue in there. They'll reference other things that you'll never actually see, but it still adds to the lore and sort of like the essence of the universe itself. You get like backstory and stuff, which is very important for a game with such a lore-rich universe that kind of depends on it to really succeed, in my opinion.
Yeah. Sorry, just a silly comment, but yeah.
Yeah, no, it's good. Any detail on these sexy feet we see right here, all rusted up and goodness?
No, but they need to do paint job.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Fucking ugly. I like the kind of looking up like, hey, giant Shadowhawk dick, just right there. I'm gonna edit that in. See, how would he have known? That's why I'm hoping there's going to be some sort of like navigation. Oh yeah, there's activate by pressing E. And it's funny. This I was going to say that it's funny. I noticed. Yeah, I was going to say I noticed watching this playthrough in particular is actually different than the one that Russ played live in MechCon, and that's how I knew it wasn't just on like a thing on rails, because I remember very specifically how Russ moved through all this, and even how he fights the Raven later on, and it's not the same way as we see in here. So somebody else then took this and played it again, right? To record for this video that they put up on their trailer. So it wasn't it was not the same recording from MechCon. I just wanted to point that out.
Like cascade array. Reactors and
steady.
Ammo.
Yep. That left arm actuator's acting up again. The one we got in the salvage yard in Esperus.
See Spitfire written on the side there of the arm.
Yeah, what did he say he got that salvage? An Espis?
Yeah, actually, let me play that back. Hang on.
There's acting up again. The one we got in the salvage yard in Esperus.
Esperus. Salvage yard in Esperus.
Yeah, that doesn't ring a bell. It's probably just some made-up name.
It Oh, wait, maybe he said Hesperus? Because Hesperus is, I'm looking it up right now on Sarna. That is one of shipyard facilities. I thought I recognized the name. Didn't MechWarrior 3 reference this as well?
No, you're right. The Hesperus system was mentioned.
Yeah, does Hesperus and Hesperus 2 as well.
Oh, look at that.
Okay, so that's what they're talking about there. That's pretty cool.
The largest battle mech factory in Lyrian Commonwealth.
Okay.
There we go. So that was actually a relevant word.
Yeah.
So they actually are paying attention to their shit. Look at
that. Good.
That's pretty cool.
Excellent. We're learning something by doing this.
I know, right?
But it's amazing. Okay.
So this is great because we're not like super nerds about this.
Yeah.
We just like we're gamers who love the game and we're still learning things.
Yeah.
You know, the one we got in the salvage yard in Hesperus.
So we have Spitfire, sudden death. I like, you know, it's got like the shark teeth paint, you know, like very kind of like mercenary style, I'd say. Paint jobs going on here. I'm not sure what is Spitfire. Do you think Spitfire is actually referring to anything in particular?
I don't know. I wish I knew. I really don't know.
Yeah, I have no idea. I don't know if that's just something cool they decided to throw in, or if that means something. Maybe that could be the name of one of the mercenary units. Like, I have no idea, to be honest, about that. But we'll move on.
Got no long-range missiles. We're running low on cash.
See, what he just said there, though, we're running low on cash. Like that kind of brings into the whole MechWarrior feel right there, is being able to buy specific weapons, going out on missions, so that way you can afford new and better weapons, better mechs.
Right.
So like we weren't able to afford, long-range missiles. And that's a common problem that you would run into in like MechWarrior 4 Mercenaries.
Yeah.
Having to buy less powerful weapons.
And I want to point out the logo on the side here, because I believe, what is that? I know what that symbol means. Free.
Which one? Live, free, or die?
Yeah. That's a common symbol we see in Battletech lore, isn't it?
Let's see here. Because that looks like the join or die snake is what it looks like. Well, sort of. Actually, what I think that is it's a little bit of a play on of the inner sphere, like living, free birth.
Oh, you know what? I actually just found the image on Google.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. It's okay. I think it's a common symbol that has nothing to do with Battletech by itself, but here, I'll send you a link. That's the exact image they're using right there.
Yeah, live free or die. It's the exact same image.
So that must be a common.
It's kind of interesting. It's like goes back to the whole like don't tread on me, live free or die.
Right. If you look on this page too, there's a lot of stuff from my absence of knowledge on the American history is showing.
Was like
the American Revolution. That you're seeing a lot of like old flags.
But it was kind of, I don't know my history either, honestly. But to me, this kind of makes sense to put. I feel like they're playing on that with the whole like all of the inner sphere needs to band together or die. Right. It's interesting, like live free. I don't know. It's kind of an interesting like play on between American history and inner sphere.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. So
I think like that's what that is.
Because I thought I recognized a symbol, and I was like, "Is that MechWarrior related?" No, that's actually a symbol we have in our own universe, our own real life.
That's when all the territories needed to band together. Yeah.
Right.
Terrible American history.
All right. Anyway.
This old girl is as ready as she'll ever be.
And when he walks out here, I was really hoping, like, oh my God, is there gonna be animation of the cockpit opening up and us getting inside? And no, it fades to fucking black screen, and I'm like, oh man. I like how he's like looking at the
I know that looks badass. Look at that cannon.
I would really love to see like the cockpit open up and you actually get inside though. Like I don't
put
like
on the
that
helmet.
Right. Yeah, put on the helmet and everything, like the neuro helmet. I don't like that it just cuts to fades off to black. Like it's so cheesy. But it could be something that they're working on. It could be something that we will see. I really hope so.
Yeah, this is a great opportunity to like really show off neuro helmets and how they operate, and like, hey, look up and down to set up your Neuralink, and kind of as a tutorial, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. They could go all out. I mean, with Unreal Engine 4, there's pretty much no limits. All right, there's no reason to not go nuts. If they can and have the manpower and the willpower to do it, they can absolutely go all out.
Come on, let's go. One more sweep and we're done with this contract and off this rock.
So he's mentioning the contracts and everything. Obviously you're in a mercenary unit here.
Yeah.
I wish I could read what that like really tiny print on the bottom says. Like I feel like it says something, but there's no like video.
Probably says like, "Don't fall."
Yeah.
Like don't
watch your step.
Into the neck. Watch your step.
Shadowhawk 701, we see you on the board.
Shadowhawk 701.
Prepare to take control.
Prepare to take control, because you don't have any right now, but we're gonna give it to you. So we can even pause this and like read this whole thing right here if we wanted to.
Well,
but
you know what this is from though, right? It's someone on. Oh gosh, I gotta find it now.
the star icon reminds me of like what were those old computers you did?
That's exactly what it is.
I was gonna say it's like
meant to play with that.
my Windows 95 is booting up. Oh, Earthworks Deluxe Cinch BIOS extension initializing neuro helmet synchronization.
What is that
brain
called?
star.
I'm like trying to find a picture of it. It's the old BIOS start.
Yeah, I know.
Here we go. It's the Energy Star.
Energy Star. That was it.
There it is.
Yeah, Energy Star. Oh man, the fucking flashbacks, dude. I miss Windows 95.
I feel like that's a play on like when people first played MechWarrior. That's what they would probably be seeing.
right, yeah. I like that. That's pretty good. Reactor.
All
right, so we see tons 15.5. I'm pretty sure the Shadowhawk is not a 15.5 tonnage mech, so I'm not sure what.
That's the tonnage of the reactor. See at the top it says reactor.
Oh, I'm blind.
That's a
Yay!
15.5 ton reactor.
Okay, I'm an idiot.
Speed 85 kph, reverse speed 54.
Right.
kph.
I didn't see the reactor right above the whole. Okay, that makes a lot of.
And it's
a lot
also
more
correct.
sense.
It has 12 integrated heat sinks, and the Shadowhawk has 12.
Okay. Yeah, 275 fusion engine.
I was gonna say though, like adding the sound, adding Bitching Betty right here, and then not actually including a sound of the mech booting up. It seems like she's just talking in your ear.
Right. The mech was already kind of powered on, and you know.
Yeah, I feel like you just should have. I don't know. It just sounds like it's just turning on programs. It doesn't sound like it's actually turning on the systems. Oh, this UI. Please, can we pause?
Okay.
This is so much better.
I like the yeah, oh my god, way better. This is I mean, what can we say about it really? It's a lot more, I'd say, minimalistic, right?
Well, yeah, so it's meant to look like it's actually on your helmet.
That was I was going to point out, because you have the curvature and everything. What it's supposed to be, it is supposed to be part of your neuro helmet. So it is supposed to, you know,
and everything is monocolor. So it's not like shouting in your face unless it's important.
Right.
I love that. It's just so much more minimalist, and I love it.
Yeah, I'm hoping that we kind of get to keep this, because this does look very. I like it. It looks very sleek. Looks very good. Looks part of the neuro helmet. And you kind of already summed it up in a nutshell.
701, you are clear to exit the mech bay. Proceed to rendezvous in Sector Omega 11.
Warning. Hangar doors opening. Stand clear.
So we can see SRM2, AC5, and I think that means 2 medium lasers. You see the 2 symbol there. So 3 SRM2s.
It looks like he actually had LRMs, but they're empty.
Right.
Oh, those running animations are terrible.
Yeah, okay. If we notice the little people, like, let's zoom in on the little people down here. They're obviously like just some stock fucking animation that they just. First of all, they look like they're running in slow motion, right?
Yeah.
So the people on the ground, that's definitely gonna need some work. Now, right away,
that's
the movement,
right
the movement. Okay, I'm gonna actually just like play that back a couple times. Okay, so we can really kind of see the movement. This was something I had talked about at the beginning of my MechWarrior 3 Let's Play, is how MechWarrior 3 was really the only game. MechWarrior 2 did it too, but just not as well as 3 did, with animations where when you move, your crosshair and everything you and around you bobs up and down with each step of the mech. And MechWarrior 3 was the game that did that very, very well, where MechWarrior 4 and MechWarrior Online went sort of the more arcade route, and you notice in those games, you as the pilot are just kind of fixed in midair, floating while the cockpit moves around you. So your crosshair never moves while you're moving, as long as you're going straight. And that was something that always really bothered me and really took away the immersion of, hey, I'm in a giant robot. You know, it felt just very arcadey, very non-simulator feeling. I mean, MechWarrior, just by design, the BattleTech universe and everything, is supposed to be like a simulator, you know?
Yeah, and that was one of the things I was really excited about, just to actually see that. But one of the things I wanted to point out was like, look at our vehicles.
Oh, the tanks.
We got tanks, we got trucks.
Yeah, we do see some vehicles. We don't see them. We don't see them in action in this video, but we do see them here, at least modeled. So, you know, obviously the previous single-player games of MechWarrior 2, 3, and 4 all had vehicles. There were helicopters, VTOLs, all that stuff, which hopefully we will see make a return with this as well.
And I'm sorry that I don't know what BattleTech vehicles these are.
I have no idea. It actually looks more like that. May, for all intents and purposes, be just like a stock placeholder, because it looks like a normal tank, to be honest.
I mean, I'm just like looking at some of the BattleTech tanks. They look similar to that.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, I'm trying to get a little closer here.
But it would also depend on like what faction they're in.
That's true. That's true. I'm not really savvy on the vehicles, all the ground vehicles in BattleTech.
I'm just happy to see them.
Yeah, same here. So I like.
It really helps add scale. And let's talk about that again. So in MechWarrior Online,
we see more
all of the
vehicles over
buildings
here
are
as well.
huge. Yeah, there's more of them. MechWarrior Online really failed to show proper scale when it comes to environment and buildings.
Absolutely.
And in this case, we are able to see people, we're able to see vehicles, and the buildings are more to scale. So when you're piloting this giant mech, you feel like you're in a giant walking mechanical
and
Goliath.
That was one thing I was definitely gonna.
Heavy.
That was definitely one thing I was gonna point out as well. This is the scale in what we see here is definitely way better than MechWarrior Online. MechWarrior Online, you kind of feel tiny. You kind of feel like you're sort of like a doll in a playhouse sort of feel. You know, everything just does not feel right. And that was one thing. I think MechWarrior 3 was the game that got the scale down the best, in my opinion.
I can see that, maybe.
That and Living Legends, I think, were the games that did it best to scale. Because MechWarrior 4 also had that sort of tiny feeling. MechWarrior 2, there really wasn't anything detailed in MechWarrior 2 you could kind of like compare scale-wise, you know? Because MechWarrior 2 was just so old, the engine wasn't really capable of handling that. But
one thing that I really love is like this seems like this place is actually alive. There's people running around. Like there's something worth protecting here, is what it feels like.
Yeah.
You know, that was one clear thing. And the other thing is this actually makes me feel this scene coming out of the mech bay with all these people around. It reminds me a lot of the MechWarrior 4 Vengeance trailer.
Oh yeah, you know, I didn't even think about that, but that's true.
Is that the right one?
They come out of the mech bay and they're all already in the middle of a fight doing that, but
Yes, MechWarrior 4 Vengeance trailer. But
we also see some of the.
Reminds me of.
Yeah, we also see some more of the vehicles over here. I have no idea what kind of vehicles these are, but these look more, I think, BattleTech-esque in a sense. You know,
I'm sure like all of the BattleTech fans are gonna like. All of the beer warriors are gonna kill me.
Yeah, I mean,
I do not know this.
Yeah, if we're just totally blind and stupid, please comment below and just hate on us all you want, because I'm sure we're not we're missing something here.
I'm a gaming and beer fan. I love MechWarrior, but I don't have the mental capacity to remember all of these vehicles.
Right, and the thing is with MechWarrior, I love MechWarrior for the mechs. I never really paid too much attention to like the vehicles and stuff. Yeah. But I mean, that's just me. Anyway,
I love them. I'm happy to see them, but I just don't know them.
Base command to Shadowhawk 701. We've lost contact with Sentry Post 5. Proceed to Charlie 05 and give me a sit rep.
Okay, pause.
Okay.
Look at that horrible skybox. I know it's all placeholder, and I know that they just created a small immediate area to make a demo.
Yeah. It's blurred too. Like it's like why they just put like Vaseline over it so we couldn't really see it too well. The whole like horizon's blurry, and you know I think there's some 2D buildings to the left there. But,
one thing you do feel like though is this is easily a forward operating base. You can tell that it's not. It hasn't been here a long time, so it's kind of small, but it is like a permanent operating base.
Yeah.
Oh, you notice the SRMs light up whenever he's looking at something.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, look whenever he like looks at things. Wait, the top look at the SRM too.
Yeah.
it will disappear when he looks away from something that's out of range.
Oh yeah, when it's like out of range.
Contact with Sentry
Oh
Post
yeah,
5.
okay, so the icon actually
Charlie 05.
disabled there.
Yeah.
So they already have some of that implemented to show you. That's actually cool. And I like the placement of the weapons here, showing you kind of, you know, this is in your arm. You know, this is like on your shoulder, on the top right of your shoulder.
Yeah.
And
it's
this
actually
is
relative to where it is on your mech.
right. And that I like. I like that.
That's a great idea.
Lasers are here, SRM's up here, AC cannon is obviously, you can fucking see the AC cannon. But that, I like the way the UI does that, and the icons just kind of like lighting up and turning off. I think is definitely a big step forward already, showing like your if it's in range or out of range. That's cool. So it's again still very minimalistic. They're kind of combining two HUD elements, showing the range of the weapon and just the weapon itself, which I'm sure these when they start firing, we'll see sort of like a meter for the cooldown. It's all sort of integrated into one icon. You see the name of the weapon. You even see the ammo count right here for the SRM2. You know, in all included in that what do you call it, in that HUD element for the weapon. That's good. Yep. I like that. PGI, if you're listening, fucking keep that. That's a good idea. That is actually a good idea. Don't remove that. Anyway, we'll continue on. I also noticed you can see when he's looking around, you see his center crosshair, like the circle, that's his arm moving independent from the torso and everything like that. And so here we go where we get into the fighting.
So let's pause it whenever he hits it. All right, let's do that.
Okay, so effects look decent. They definitely look pretty decent already. I'm just gonna go a little further, and we see the Raven come in, and we have the target and the HUD.
So there's a lot to talk about here.
Right. First off, I want to before we talk about any of the new HUD stuff that just came up, I want to talk about the Raven. Okay, just really quickly, the Raven is a mech that, and I'm just gonna look it up really quick, that wasn't produced until the year 3024. So by that knowledge, what we're seeing on the screen here, it has to be at least 3024 or later, as you know, at least what we're seeing right now in this video.
And we were talking about, like, I think a lot of people were confused that this takes place before that, but then,
that was
like,
the thing, because that was actually something I was going to point out during BattleTech. I think Russ said this was supposed to take during 3015, which wouldn't make sense if we're seeing a Raven. That Raven should not exist if that is the case.
But
so
I think what he
why
said
I wanted to point it out.
Correct. Yeah, I think what he said was correct. It does takes place in 3015, but I think the game as a whole goes from 3015 to 3049.
Right, and maybe we're just seeing in the middle of that progression, which is something
and like
to think
according
about.
to what your like Mech Bay guy was saying earlier, that your Shadowhawk is 500 years old, so we're probably towards the end of that timeline near 3050. But I mean, again, these could all just be placeholder mechs. You know, they could have just thrown some mechs in there, and then since they're probably on a really tight timeline to get everything ready for MechCon, so just knowing how timelines go, people would get rushed, so they have to throw in random placeholder mechs. That's probably what it is.
Right.
But okay, one other thing. There's probably so much to talk about here.
Yeah.
How the fuck did a Raven make it all the way into here? And nobody fucking noticed?
Yeah, I was gonna say, what does this base have any sort of like sensors or anything, like, radar? Like,
I mean, there's a tower that it's shot at.
Right.
How the fuck did the people at the tower not see anything?
Right, yeah. How did somebody not even see? Even if he's like, okay, let's take it. Maybe he is running some, you know,
ECM,
some Uber PGI bullshit ECM. Okay, because the ECM in MechWarrior Online is not how ECM is supposed to work at all, for the most part anyway, in BattleTech. And there's one thing I really don't like about you know, what MechWarrior Online did with the lore in BattleTech. They did change a lot of things around that just were not really true to the universe.
They also added stealth armor, which basically makes you invisible.
I know, yeah, that's coming in the fucking new update.
Or at least according to scanners, it makes you invisible according to scanners.
Right, the new Civil War update has stealth armor, but it like the downside is, but it generates heat. Nobody's gonna give a shit about that. Everybody's gonna be running stealth. If that's like, oh man. Let me actually just pull up a screenshot of that really quick so I can show that.
I don't know. I'm okay with them experimenting with different armors because they took away ferrofibrous, reflective, and what was the other one? I forget what it's called. But
yeah,
I'm
there
okay
used to
with
be,
them.
reflective was one of the main armor types that is supposed to be in BattleTech.
I mean, I'm okay with them adding new ways to be stealthy. I'm totally okay with that. I just I think it's hilarious. Maybe that's how he snuck in here. But
I don't
even still,
fucking know.
Visibly in a tower. How the fuck did you do that?
Yeah, like
Anyway.
visually, you should have been able to see him.
I know they didn't care about story in this. Probably.
I know.
They just
Yeah.
were
Like this
"We
is,
need to
again,
know."
it's all demo. We're just kind of taking a piss here. But yeah. So, but in regards to that, if there is a way to even like get that close to the to a base without being detected, I hope it's actually using the technology in the correct way in BattleTech lore, and not like all the weird rules that PGI made up for balance, quote unquote balance, in MechWarrior Online. You know, I don't want to see that.
You know what another thing I love is that laser. You know what it looks like?
I was gonna point out that looks like an actual fucking laser.
It looks like a laser. It doesn't look like a giant lightsaber.
Yeah.
Like a laser.
That actually looks like a fucking laser. And let me just play a little bit so you can see animated. It makes like sort of that almost staticky pattern you see with like a real laser when he fires this, right? That's
there's
cool.
sound effects too for everything.
Yeah, and you can see. Let me just look at the laser icon here. The icon goes away, and you can see the charging bar coming up as it's like the laser is recharging.
Interesting.
The only thing I don't like about that though is that watch when he fires. Right, he fires, and then you know the icon doesn't change at all. And then when he's done firing, then it goes into the sort of recharge cycle, showing you the recharge cycle. But the whole rest of the icon disappears. And so, like, if it's a new,
Probably just telling you you can't fire it.
Right, but it'd still be nice to show like, oh, by the way, this is a medium laser and it's recycled. You could have the bar and the medium laser icon at the same time.
You're not
like,
gonna forget that there's a medium laser.
you could. Hey, there's people who are very like. What if you have a lot of weapons? You know, like I don't know. I just thought it was something worth pointing out. But
The one thing I want to point out is like if you notice after he kind of scans away from the tower, there is you see it in a lot of different instances, but there is environmental destruction. You're seeing that tower fall apart.
And I don't like that this video looks away from it, because Russ, when he played it live at MechCon, did not look away from it, and we could actually see some of the environmental damage of the. You can see the building. Yeah, there it goes. You can kind of see. That's cool. Okay, so let's just play that again. Like, boom, there goes a building. He looks a little bit over. You can see the shadow, too, of all the debris falling. Like, if they have full-on destructible environments and buildings, like, oh my God, please tell me you guys are hinting at that. Yes,
Please,
yes, more yes, 1,000 times yes, to the power of 9,000 in the sun.
Yeah, so two more things now. One, the way those missiles fire is way different than the way they do in MechWarrior Online.
Right,
they're firing one at a time, and they're kind of firing a spray.
Right, and that is
like, it's almost like it's following his cursor.
That is exactly how SRMs. God, again, I might look really stupid here if I say this is how they're supposed to work in BattleTech lore, but I thought that was how they were supposed to work in BattleTech lore. I know that's how they work in MechWarrior 2 and even 4 and Living Legends. I think MechWarrior 3 had them packed together, like similar to how MechWarrior Online did it, which was again another design change of MechWarrior 3. Just how like they did pulse lasers completely different. I actually love pulse lasers in MechWarrior 3. But I like the sort of what do you call it? Streamlined, you know, missiles, like streamlined, sort of, you know, not grouped in like one big volley like a shotgun of missiles, but rather like a stream of missiles. Like I like that. I really love that about MechWarrior 2 and even MechWarrior 4 as well. Those are SRMs. I'm pretty sure that's what he's firing. Are SRMs. I mean that's supposed to be the Raven 3L, which we can see here. Right. We look on Sarna. Model 3L is the original variant, so it has the SRM-6, 2 medium lasers, and then Narc and Beagle Octoprobe, all that. But yeah, so that is the SRM-6. We're seeing this Raven fire in the beginning here when he hits the building, and I believe we see 6 missiles too. If we just rewind a little bit. Can you count the missiles? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. So like he fired. I did that so quick. But yeah, you can see like he also like aimed up to sort of spray them up along the building, which is really cool.
All right, so that segues us into the new UI.
Yeah, pretty much. We can see we have sort of 2 targeting info whatever for the
well, you've got your what's it called? The ragdoll, not ragdoll.
the paper doll.
Paper doll. You have a paper doll.
The rag doll.
Yeah, and it tells you the name of the mech, and it tells you XYZ. The top, I guess that's the pilot name, but it doesn't tell you like what weapons it has on it.
Yeah, from what we can see so far, there's nothing that shows us like what weapons the mech you're targeting is carrying. I don't see any information about that. Maybe they're gonna add that like down here, because we also have the Raven model on the bottom left, and we see like a different sort of armor display, which actually looks very cool. And I really like that. Like you see your mech and the enemy's mech and what their actual like what they look like. Like that was something that like MechWarrior 4 did, and had like all the different paper doll models for every single mech that was in the game. That was really cool. I like that.
If you look closely, you can actually see the laser burning across his mech.
Yeah, there is a bit of a burning effect there with the laser going across. So they do already have some good looking effects in here. And the sound design, we didn't really touch on the sound design, but the sound is better than MechWarrior Online sounds.
Oh, it is.
MechWarrior Online sound very synthesized, like somebody tried to modify a drum kit, right? This actually does sound more like the weapons, especially when we get into it and we see him firing we hear him firing the AC5 over here. It sounds much better, and we already see like damage showing up. And this does look similar. I think that's actually the paper doll, the one in the middle there. That's the paper doll from MechWarrior Online. You can see it turns yellow when he hit his shoulder with the laser. We'll just play a little more. That was a cool sound.
Shakes your mech.
Yeah, no, that's actually important as well. Watch him fire the AC5. That actually did shake the mech. It was very slight, but it did. Now that's very important because that's hinting at recoil, okay? Which there is only one MechWarrior game, to my knowledge, that has recoil based on where you place more powerful weapons, and that's MechWarrior 3. I'll throw up a little video of it here to show you, depending on where you have weapons placed in your mech in MechWarrior 3, and when you fire them, your whole torso would either jerk to the left or jerk to the right if it was in your right arm or your left arm. Gauss rifles, PPCs, the AC weapons, very powerful weapons would have some pretty massive recoil. MechWarrior 3 was the only MechWarrior game to implement that. And it is a feature I sorely miss, because that little detail added so much to the immersion and the feel of weapons, really giving them a sense of power behind them, Like, that's missing in, like, a lot of the other MechWarrior titles.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They really listened to their players here. They really brought some of the great things from MechWarrior 3, some of the great things from MechWarrior 4, and just put them all together in one game, and I love that. They weren't trying to reinvent the wheel or anything.
Right.
Good things from the old games.
Yeah, I'm glad to see them, taking some good initiative steps here into making something that could potentially be very good. Again, we're gonna be cautiously optimistic for now. PGI's not getting any money from me until I have like a demo or something I can play. But I like that they're not doing some sort of like free to play. It's just gonna be a game. They release it, you buy it. Like, good. That's good.
What did they say that's what they're gonna do?
I think so. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong.
You couldn't really do free to play with a single player game, I guess.
Yeah, you can't really do that. So I don't think there's gonna be like microtransactions. I mean, we have seen microtransactions in single player games before.
Is that a dead helicopter in the background? No, it's not. It's just a rock.
No, it's just a rock. Alright, so we'll continue here.
I think we've pretty much covered everything with that.
Yeah.
There was a lot to talk about.
Yeah, especially when that Raven comes in. Suddenly we have new UI, new weapons, new sounds. There's like so much new mech. Yeah. A lot to cover. But yeah, I think we'll play this out, and we'll go on a little bit more with this. Yeah, and you can see the stream, and as he's moving and aiming the missiles, I love, especially, let's play that back, the sound of the missile hitting him. Kong. That's a fucking great sound. I really like that, how that sounds. We get what the hell is going on? Now see, he's running and the mech is bobbing up quite a lot.
Oh wow, look at the sparks falling to the ground after he hits him.
Yeah,
he's backing up, and the sparks, what's great about the sparks is they didn't just kind of go in some random direction relevant to where the mech is. They fall wherever he was hit.
Yeah, and I know like Unreal Engine 4 has GPU accelerated particles, so they can do a lot of really amazing, crazy effects here. We can see, like, watch, he's running away, and then the sparks fall to the ground, bounce off, and spread out on the ground.
Like, man, that bobbing and the mech shake really adds to the immersiveness of the game.
Yeah.
You feel like it makes, even though it's just one little raven, it makes it terrifying because you feel like the more fear of the situation.
Right, yeah, because again, like what I was talking about before, it feels much more simulator in that regard, you know? Like he's running along, we see, you know, the mech bobbing, the HUD. One thing I'll actually point out what I don't like, okay? We'll go with a bad point here. Let's rewind a little bit here. All right, watch when he rotates and turns the mech, okay? Okay, you saw it right there when that's when he's actually using, like, when he's rotating the legs, you kind of see the whole cockpit tilt to the right or tilt to the left. Watch, do you see that? He's correcting himself.
Oh yeah, I don't like that either.
I don't like that because it's too. First of all, it's too quick. It's too sort of jittery looking, and detracts away. That actually, it's like that instant sort of movement with the legs is exactly what MechWarrior Online has, and that feels very, very arcadey. To give an example of how you would do this correctly in MechWarrior 3, when you go to rotate your legs left or right, it's sort of a smooth transition. It slowly starts to rotate you until it reaches maximum rotating speed or whatever you want to call it, right? It's a smooth transition between trying to rotate your mech's legs left and right instead of this sort of instant snappiness that I hope that they remove that, because that's it just really detracts from sort of the simulator feel of the mech, and it just feels very arcadey in that regard, you know.
And I also kind of, can we talk a little bit about the guy talking? We talk about that guy and just like,
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah,
is there much to say about him?
No, I mean, again, probably hopefully a placeholder voice. What the hell is going on down there? You know, it's just very
alert. Like, it just, I don't know. It's not terrible,
right?
But it's not.
Again, if you're going for that gruffy sort of macho mercenary voice, it's got to be done perfect, or it's just going to be cliche at this point, you know.
If anything, just make it sound like a professional, like, you know, military voice, like just actual command center, you know, like.
Right. Anyway, we'll continue on here.
Crews, stand by.
Emergency crew, stand by. And he's like trying to like put a growl in his voice there, but
that spread of the missiles.
I know. Raven's bobbing all over the place here. Headshot, bitch.
If you notice, he ran into that building, and it didn't damage the building. At least that we see.
Yeah, what the fuck, PGI? Fuck you. I want to be able to run over buildings and just watch them explode, assholes.
Well, to be fair, like if it's that building looks like it's made out of concrete. Like if you ran a building, something into that, it would probably damage it.
Right, and I'm hoping again. Yeah, I'm hoping again they do go all out with effects like that. If you're running into a building, it should put a dent in, at least a dent in the fucking building. You should see it like crumble a bit, you know, scratch marks or whatever, because they have the tools to do it now. They can absolutely do that. Again, pre-alpha footage. We know, we're just going into things we would like to see. But yeah, like the SRM2 there in the face. Let me actually pause. Let me go back a little bit when he's close to the Raven and look at something here. I don't know if they have this implemented yet, but let me look at something here. Okay, when we see the Raven right here, it's hard to tell just because of the quality of the video. But do you see any sort of like damage effects on the Raven itself?
No, it's kind of hard to see that, honestly.
I can't really point anything out. Yeah, and I'm hoping that they do some excellent looking damage. Because I keep referencing MechWarrior 3, but MechWarrior 3 has some pretty cool fucking damage effects on the mechs themselves. And that's a game that came out in fucking 1999. You know, MechWarrior Online's damage effects in comparison are pitiful when it's just like a standard bullet hole texture for anything that hits the mech. You know, it just looks very weird, and I'm hoping they go all out with some really cool looking damage effects to really show that the mech has been beat up and in a battle and stuff. You know, you want to be able to tell that stuff.
Yeah, and even just to go back to scaling too, the Raven still looks very large.
Yeah,
and it's proper scaling too.
Yeah,
like those doors down there really kind of show you like, oh, that's proper. That's proper
right. And you know, I like the animations too. We didn't really pick that out, but the animations do look. They're definitely different from the MechWarrior Online animations, and I think that's a good thing.
You can see the toes moving too.
Right, and
whenever he puts his foot out.
One of the things I kind of wanted to point out as well, if people on my channel remember the whole like the MechWarrior Online little rant I did about MechWarrior Online animations, is that the big issue there is that with MechWarrior Online, the animations are the same for when a mech is walking versus when it's running, and that's why a lot of the animations look very awkward, and you have this sort of excessive bobbing, and it looks like they're kind of speed walking, you know, it looks like they're walking in fast motion, you know, just like with the film sped up or something. And so it's good to see that they're gonna, you know, I'm hoping anyway that they're gonna sort of have these differentiating animations between running and walking, you know, so that it actually looks correct to the size and the speed of that mech.
No, that's a really good point. God, this pilot though.
Yeah, I don't know who's playing, but here we go. He's on fire.
Okay,
he's on fire. And that could have been. Now I don't think that could have been an ammo explosion because that's the wrong side, isn't it?
Wait, go back to see what paper doll what part of the paper doll he blew up. He's crit CT on both.
Yeah, see his missiles
it's
come
like that right torso.
Right, his missiles come from the Raven's right torso, but it was his left torso that was on fire. See right here, that was just from a laser.
Well, it looks like he blew out the right torso.
Oh, it looks like both torsos actually. Am I looking at that wrong,
yeah.
or does it look like both torsos are gone?
Both torsos just went out.
Okay, so that's what the fire is from. So that's losing a critical component, it seems.
Probably.
But look, he's still firing. So his arms did not.
How is his arm?
He still has his arms. The side torsos have been destroyed, but the arms can still fire. Now, this was always possible in MechWarrior 2, 3, and I think 4 as well.
That's possible in 3?
Yeah, no, sorry, I have it backwards. I'm an idiot. That was the first game to implement that. MechWarrior 2 didn't do that, and MechWarrior 4 did not do that either. MechWarrior 2 and 4 had it the way we see it here, where you could have a side torso taken off, but the arm would not be blown off as a result. MechWarrior 3 did that for the first time, so that you do, if your side torso gets taken out, then your arm also gets knocked off.
Oh, okay.
MechWarrior Living Legends does not do that, and then MechWarrior Online obviously did do that. In MechWarrior Online, you get a side torso taken out, that arm also goes with it.
One cool thing about this is that flame eventually goes out, which I like because, like, in a mech of this size, you would probably have some extinguishers automatically deploying whenever a fire.
And the flames seem a little gigantic.
Yeah, they're a little excessive.
Yeah, a little excessive. They might want to tone down some of the effects there, but still, like, it. At least we have something here to showcase, like, this is what they're kind of going for, which is good. But yeah, it's interesting to see that if this is the way it's going to be, if that's a permanent feature, like you can get a torso taken out, but your arm, that doesn't mean your arm goes, then that's going to play much more like MechWarrior 2 and MechWarrior 4 did. You know? You know? But
well, I think whenever he falls, I think it does it.
Yeah, let's watch. He kills him right here, so let's watch the ragdoll animation here. Boink. Now, I hate to say that does look a little sort of like a scripted death animation, because you notice that he hits him with the AC-5, which is what supposedly kills him, and the Raven is looking at us when he shoots the AC-5 to kill him. But then when he falls, the Raven is looking perfectly straight forward and kind of like runs for a second, trips, and then falls. You know, so that could be maybe a sign that they're going to be doing sort of like animated deaths combined with ragdoll physics, which would be excellent, like Euphoria physics, you know, like something like GTA 4.
Either that or it's another placeholder.
Either that or it's a placeholder. Yeah, I mean, it could be either way at this point, but it would be cool to see sort of like animated deaths like MechWarrior 3 had, but combined with some ragdoll physics, you know, but just not silly ragdoll physics like in MechWarrior Online.
It seems like they're sticking to their no going critical nuclear explosions,
which is good because they're not.
That's not
really supposed to. Yeah, MechWarrior 4, every fucking mech goes nuclear. Like what?
It's just, yeah. So I'm glad that they stuck with that. I know a lot of people are like, they love the whole going critical thing where they explode like a nuke. It just...
Which does... Actually, I think technically in BattleTech that's not even supposed to happen, but it was something that does happen.
In MechWarrior 3 trailer.
It can happen in MechWarrior 3. It obviously happens all the time in MechWarrior 4. And it's something very, very fucking cool that can happen in Living Legends. And I think Living Legends did it correctly, where, you know, when I'll throw up a video of that too, just so you can see how Living Legends did it. When a mech takes too much damage, it starts going critical. You see like the electric and the light rays and whatever, and then suddenly this massive fucking nuclear explosion. And that's very rare that it can happen, but it's also very cool when it does.
Like, that's not how nuclear reactors work.
No, I know it's not how it's supposed to work at all. I just think it's cool, you know, like. But yeah, whether they put that in or not, I mean, I guess it doesn't really change my opinion with the game. I kind of just like it in Living Legends anyway. It's just really fucking cool to see. Yeah. But anyway, we'll continue with this because this is getting towards the end of the video.
Let's look at the damage of the Shadowhawk's paper doll.
Right now,
like,
what I don't like about
the outline of the armor.
Right, what I don't like about this though is that it's very hard to tell what the damage is.
Yeah.
It's like it all kind of blends in. It's not very clear as to what's damaged, what isn't. Again, they might. Hopefully, they take note from the previous MechWarrior games and allow us to switch damage modes so we can see, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you have the graph, you have the paper doll, you have the 3D model in like MechWarrior 3 and 2.
I was actually always a fan of the bar graph.
Yeah, a lot of people just use the bar graph, especially if you were, going to be playing seriously. You wanted to be able to see every individual component in an actual, like, sort of percentage graph so that you know exactly how much health or how many armor points that area has left. So hopefully we'll be seeing some sort of customization to the damage indicators here for both you and your enemy that you have targeted. Boom, he blows up. Haha. Little explosion.
What's the purpose of this zoom in?
701.
Obviously dramatic effect, duh.
Kill.
And is that the actual, like, zooming mechanic? Like, what?
Looks like
that doesn't look like how you would zoom in normally. That must have been just something for the
like
demo.
A cinematic thing.
It's cinematic, yeah.
Now, I don't recognize the markings.
So he says he doesn't recognize the markings, like it's maybe some from mercenary unit we don't know yet, or just they don't know yet. Something like that, maybe.
Getting reports of satellite failures. We need you back at the base till we figure out what's going on. Return to the hangar and await further orders.
And then here we see
Contact. We have multiple contacts.
something pretty cool.
701. Can you get a visual?
Can you get a visual? Well,
Shadow overtaking everything.
Yeah.
Dropping down right on top of us.
I love this.
Hang on, we've got a broadcast from Central. Patching it through.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
Attention all mercenary
Except the skybox.
We are under attack by a large expeditionary force.
Large
I am
expeditionary
empowered
force.
to offer new combat contracts at premium pay.
Premium, but I love the voice acting. I can't deal.
I await your reply.
Yeah. Let's go. Let's check that out again.
Let's rewind a little bit and break that down a bit before we kind of play the end of the video there. So this shadow that comes over is obviously fake and was just for the trailer, because the dropship, first of all, where the sun is pointing and the dropship coming down behind him, like that's not how the shadow would. But anyway, so I just want to point that out. that shadow thing is that's all fake, just for the trailer. What we're seeing right here. Yeah, because the sun's like over there somewhere, and like, how did that fucking? But anyway,
I didn't think about that.
Yeah, I just kind of something to notice and point out. But yeah, we see the giant ballsack dropship, which I love so much. So what dropship is that again? I don't remember the fucking name for that.
I think it's a Union class dropship, right?
Well, let's find out. Yeah, you're actually correct. There it is, Union class. It's kind of like
There's a whole ton of different ones.
It's sort of like the like when you think of a dropship. I don't know. When I think of a dropship, this is the dropship I think of, because this is what you normally see in like all the MechWarrior games. You see it in MechWarrior 3 and MechWarrior 4. I don't remember MechWarrior 2 because it's been forever since I played that. But that's like the main dropship we see throughout the games. Even though there are many different types, but Union one is we see a lot. So I'm glad they kind of took note of that and were like, here's some Union dropships, because that's kind of like the spitting image of the quintessential.
Watch, we're gonna be wrong. It's like not the Union one. It's probably the, I don't know, like the Black Eagle or something.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is. It's a normal dropship that we're used to.
Right.
Like, you get all the glowing effects. Like, you get the charging lasers.
We see animations. We see the things coming out. So for landing, the dropships look very well detailed as well. Number 2 on the side. So let's just get a pause. There's like all this shit fucking going on. There's like fire from everywhere, which again is something they probably just threw into sort of like climax the end of the video. Because I don't know who the fuck is firing, what they're firing on, or who's firing back, but like they're just like firing in like every direction, fire everywhere, you know, like
it's like going everywhere. It's not even anything.
Yeah, it's not even at anything. It's just like we need special effects, explosions, lasers.
But you know, you do not want to go up against one of these.
Yeah. Well, you never did, even in the games. Like going up against a dropship was just fucking terrifying, especially in MechWarrior 4.
This look terrifying too.
Yeah, no, I think they did a good job here. We see number 2 also on the side, like that's the second dropship, maybe in one of the groups or something.
Look at it this way, kid. We just got a pay raise.
I actually love that.
Yeah, sort of a throwback to the MechWarrior 2 Mercenaries intro. Look at the bright side, kid. You get to keep all the money.
Yeah, right? That's what that feels like to me.
I think that's exactly what they were going for with that.
Yeah.
And what I'll do is...
And I think that at the end of it, he kind of talks about, like, your contract... I'm offering contract pay raises and stuff, and I'm wondering if that's something that's even going to happen during the game, or if that's going to happen more, like, during, like, the briefing or menu-based parts, or if that's really going to be, like...
And that again, that whole thing could just not even be in the game. That's all just, you know, sort of like a tech demo for the game. But I just want to read off the description here. In MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries, you will adopt the role of a rookie MechWarrior pilot thrust into combat as the third succession war continues to fracture the inner sphere. Take contracts from the factions of your choosing and engage in tactical first-person PvE mech combat through an immersive, career-based mercenary campaign driven by player choice. Victory, prestige, and profit will not only require skill on the battlefield, but in the acquisition, maintenance, and enhancement of your battle mechs. Set for release 2018, MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries under development by Piranha Games, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, that kind of sums it up. You know, it's going to be PvE, it's going to be single player, it's going to be in the mercenary style that we've had from MechWarrior 2 and MechWarrior 4 Mercenaries. The one thing I actually just kind of thought about, and I'm a little maybe worried about, would be sort of the... I'm just going to have it playing in the background while I mute it here. Would be the AI, okay? And the only reason I say that is because I don't think we've ever seen any sort of example of PGI's skill with coding, you know, AI in the game, really. There isn't really any notable in MechWarrior Online besides, you know, the training field in MechWarrior Online, but that's, you know, very simple sort of target practice AI, you know. So I'm very curious to see how they'll pull off doing the AI for everything, because this is, like they said, this is PvE, this is single player. Everything is going to have to be, you know, they're scripting AI from the ground up, the mechs, the vehicles, aircraft, whatever, you know, that you'll be fighting. And the Raven that we get to see him fighting seems decent enough. I don't know if that's AI. Maybe it could have been another player for the tech demo. You know, I'd like to think that's their AI, you know, or at least a working prototype of it, possibly.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell at this point. But, you know, we were talking about that Raven, and we noticed that it didn't display weapons.
Yeah.
I was just doing some reading, and it seems like Russ at one point or another during an interview said he wants it to be variant-based free market system instead of customizing your mechs. So it'll be more like, instead of customizing what mechs you have, what weapons you have, and what loadouts you have, you're buying specific variants of that mech, which is totally different than what we're used to.
So
I mean, I'm sure maybe you can switch out a couple things, but I mean, according to what this says, it seems like he wants to focus more on just like buying different mech variants, which would make the case for why there's no weapon loadouts on the Raven. it would just say, if you know what the Raven 3L has on it, then you know.
Right, that would be interesting. I don't know if that would go over well, because a big part of, you know, the Mercenaries games was being able to customize your mech, and any MechWarrior title for that matter. I know, you know, the only game where you can't do customization of your mech is MechWarrior Living Legends, and that's because they never got the chance to put in a mech bay. But for all intents and purposes, for what MechWarrior Living Legends tends to do, it does it very well, and I think that game works better without a mech lab, to be honest, because they have all the variants, you know, already implemented with, you know, the loadouts, and everything as a result is very well balanced for online play. This isn't going to be an online game. They should, in my opinion, do a mech lab for customization, you know, because this is going to be single player. That is a little interesting.
Yeah, and that kind of goes back to like role warfare. Is role warfare really important for a single player game? The only reason it would be important is if you were like picking your outfit to have different roles.
Right, and
but
that's
like
another
online,
reason
it makes sense.
Yeah, and that's another reason it works so well in Living Legends, you know, when you just have variants you can take instead of being able to fully deck out and customize the mechs, because that's a purely online game. With single player, I don't know if that's going to work very well if they're really planning on not even having a mech lab. You know, I think, to be honest, MechWarrior 4 is the game that did it right, because you had each mech. You didn't have variants in MechWarrior 4, but you had each mech with, I guess, what would sort of be the normal variant or the stock variant, or whatever was the most popular variant of said mech, because of the way the hardpoint system worked in MechWarrior 4, where, you know, like take a look at you know, the Shadowhawk that we see in this trailer. You know, he has a giant shoulder-mounted cannon, obviously designed for a ballistic weapon. And if you were trying to swap that out with like missiles or lasers, well, it wouldn't really work, because you'd have to like basically redesign. You'd have to redesign that whole side torso essentially, you know. And that's just not how the mechs were. They were designed to be for very specific purposes. But that's why I believe MechWarrior 4 did it right, because it took the hardpoint system to where, you know, you could only use certain types of weapons in certain areas, you know, energy, ballistic, whatever. So you can only swap out a ballistic for a ballistic, and so on and so forth. And sort of you're still keeping the idea of the mech and why it was made and what it was made for behind it, you know, while still allowing you customization and everything. And the other thing is, I like MechWarrior 4's hardpoint system over MechWarrior Online's hardpoint system, because the way MechWarrior 4 worked, it combined critical slots with hardpoints. So you could have an energy hardpoint on a mech in MechWarrior 4. It was one energy point but 2 critical slots, and a small laser could only take up 1 critical slot. So then you could put 2 small lasers in that one hardpoint to fill up both critical slots, or like 1 large laser which took up 2 critical slots, and then it fills up that entire hardpoint. Whereas MechWarrior Online, it's just 1 and 1, and I don't like that. It kind of unbalances things a little bit, in my opinion, with that regard. But so it basically, in conclusion, gonna be very weird to see them go with no customization, if that's actually what they're gonna do, with no mech lab in MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries. And I will just say I think that's the wrong direction, personally, for a single player game.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm willing to see what happens. I think no matter what, we haven't seen a single player game in over 15 years. I think we're
Very
all just,
true.
like, cautiously excited about it.
Yeah.
Especially with Unreal 4, supposedly no microtransactions, and it'd just be a good old-fashioned single player game for MechWarrior.
And
I
again,
think that alone is what we're excited about.
Yeah, and again, you know, this is all sort of, it's pre-alpha footage. Everything could change. First of all, the game could not even happen. They could fall out. Who knows? The game could turn into MechWarrior Online 2 with tons of microtransactions. We don't know. Everything is pretty much up in the air at this point. We're just going off of what we can see in the footage they presented us, because, you know, remember, we did see an amazing MechWarrior 5 trailer back in 2009, was that? and that never happened. You know.
What was funny is I'm looking back at that now.
I'm actually loading up that video right now because this trailer was fucking amazing, and it has everything that we just talked about. It has a really cool looking UI. Your HUD and your cockpit shakes with every step. You know, it has that immersion feel. We see damage on the buildings. We see them. You know, we see destructive environments. Like this had everything that we wanted in a single player game, and then it never fucking happened. And remember, this was Smith and Tinker and Piranha Games at the time, and then they had some sort of weird fallout, which is why this never happened. But
I remember though that IGN did like a rewind theater of that specific trailer, kind of like what we're doing now.
Yeah,
I remember like watching that and like, oh man, this game's gonna be great, and then it just died. So hopefully we're not cursing the game by doing this.
Yeah, there was so much amazing shit. He shoots a building and collapses the generator was standing on, so that the building collapses and takes out the generator. Like, how fucking cool is that? I want to see shit like that in a new MechWarrior 5. I want to see that. Please, Piranha. Please, just I don't know
please
what.
Good.
Please get good. Essentially, just fucking Christ. We seriously need a single player MechWarrior game very badly, and I hate to be like the sort of hater over here who wishes that it wasn't Piranha Games working on it, just from what I've seen from the company and MechWarrior Online. I wish it was somebody else, but we're kind of stuck with what we got. So
I think I would still take Piranha Games over EA.
Oh, over EA, sure, but I mean, there's still plenty of other competent companies, even indie companies, that I think could do awesome shit with the MechWarrior title. You know, I mean, again, Living Legends is the prime example of what modders can do. That whole game was just some guys making a mod for Crysis that blew up into an amazing fucking, you know, its own sort of title essentially.
But I'm still cautiously optimistic.
That's again. It's kind of to sum it all up. Cautiously optimistic. That's
the one good thing about Piranha Games is they are also their own publisher. They don't have to deal with a publisher breathing down their neck with deadlines and how the publisher thinks the game could sell the most.
Right,
it's just Piranha Games making their own game.
Right, but neither do a lot of indie titles, because you know indie games they don't have a publisher either. And all I'm saying is that we've seen better from other companies in the same sort of shoes. You know what I mean? So I just really hope PGI picks up their game. They redeem themselves here with MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries. What we see so far definitely looks good. More good than bad, and that's a good sign so far. You know, again, everything can change, but that's what it is right now. So I think we've sort of wrapped up this wonderful podcast here. I'm your host, Killer Keemstar. Anyway, I fucking hate that.
Did he ever get back to you? He wants to play you?
Oh, Neat Mike. No, he left a comment on the video, but. Anyway, let's wrap this up.
Yeah,
I think we just did essentially Rob. Yeah, thanks for do my outro for me because I'm terrible at it.
Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. If you have any comments about how terrible we are at BattleTech knowledge, please leave your comments directed at shivoxy@gmail.com.
That's actually not my email address, to be honest. I like the voice you're trying to put on for me. You're like trying to hey, thanks guys for watching.
Thanks guys. Yeah, thanks for watching. Come and join us on Beer Warriors anytime you want. Go to Beer Warriors.
Oh, I see. You just wanted to promote your own fucking Beer Warriors. Use my channel for freaking views and shit.
Hey, you're an officer. I mean,
yeah. I think I'm just gonna end it like that. I'm just gonna cut the video right
there. You're our lead content producer.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna use the fuck out of you.
All right.
That's the way it is.
All right, I think we'll just end it like right there. That's it. That's how I just end the video. It's done.
I like that.
Okay, let me stop recording here.
That's not like over talk it too much. Just get straight into this.
Yeah, I know. No, that's I'm gonna cut and put that towards the beginning, and then that's gonna like right before we start actually watching the footage. Okay, so now we're picking up where we had just got our heads out of our asses and realized this is a Shadowhawk. All right, so I mean, the whole purpose of this video is we're just gonna shit all over PGI, right?
No, that's not. Let's just talk about it objectively.
I'm kidding. I'm just a joke. Jesus Christ. Let's just bash the shit out of everything, especially feminists.
Especially feminists. Yeah, I'm excited for this video.
Me too. I love you. Just gonna end the video.